everyone. I'm Claudia. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm Luciana. Can we still say Happy New Year, though? I mean, Curb Your Enthusiasm told us that maybe we've already passed the deadline.
I don't know what they told us. I don't know. I have to confess, I don't know what Larry David told any of us. So I'll take your word for it. We said it, so there we go. This is Where We Land, a podcast about immigrating and multicultural identity. So before we begin, just wanted to let you know that you guys can send us your questions to the podcast at WhereWeLandPod@gmail.com. Questions about immigrating and multicultural identity or suggestions are always welcome. Okay, who did we talk to today?
Today, we spoke with Claudia Helms, your friend, very close friend, and my friend too, but just you've known her for forever. The nicest.
Yeah. And
so
I forced
sweet.
you guys to be friends.
Such a great conversation. Let's dive in.
Hello, I'm Claudia. I'm mom of two. I have two wonderful boys. I have a wonderful husband, a great family, and I currently live in DC. I was born and raised in Peru, and I'm also a lawyer, and I work for an organization that works for Latin America and the Caribbean. So I mainly task anti-corruption, money laundering. I mainly work with organizations, with governments, with civil society. So I'm very proud of what I do.
Where in the world does your journey start?
Oof, that's such a profound question. I feel like at this point I have different journeys, you know, like the first journey that I felt like it was more like I saw the light was when we were studying law. Essentially.
You were in law school in Peru?
I was in law school in Peru.
Which is where you were born and raised, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So essentially, when I was studying law, I started figuring out what I actually wanted to do with my life in decades to come. I always had a vein for helping others and see what else can be brought, like to have their full potential. So I started questioning myself where actually I really saw myself. And there were so many things to do in Peru. There were so many laws to change. There were so many policies to implement. And that was not happening there. And I sort of felt that at that point in my life, I needed to go elsewhere to learn more about how to make things work. And I sort of fell in love with everything that was not only on academia, but also at universities. We started doing the MUN with Claudia.
Right.
That's
Model
sort of
UN.
That's right. I mean, another member of the team.
Another one from the tribe.
Another one of my nerds.
I know. So that's where sort of one of my first journeys started. I saw myself within this outside world, outside Peru, but never letting Peru go. I want to keep that connection. And I feel like when you move abroad, that connection sort of gets bigger. You always feel connected. You always miss it in one way or another. You always want to see Peru shine in its full potential.
You were, like you mentioned, born and raised in Lima, Peru. So tell me, and I know you very much and you said you're a very family-oriented person. So I'm guessing that started when you were young, right? What was family life like growing up in Lima for you?
Well, that's a great question, and probably is very unique because I'm an only child. But I've always been very familiar. I always loved the family gatherings. So I was very close with grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. But not also that, but I feel like especially my mom will always encourage me that friends are also family. So ever since I was 2 years old, I met my best friend, for example. So we've always grew together, even though we were both only childs at that point. We become like sisters. We'll spend Christmases together. We both attend the same schools. We both have the same friends. And that's how I started building up friendships. For me, friendship was extremely important ever since I was a little kid. I knew friends are family too. It's a family that you choose and you need to cultivate that friendship. I mean, I know Claudia's been forever since we were young and single.
Young and dumb, baby. Young and dumb. That's when we met.
All the decisions.
You know, your friends in your 20s, you know, that see you grow up that watch you and grow up with you, some more than others. But, I'm curious about okay, you're an only child, which is rare in Latin America, especially big families.
Yeah.
And you love the family dynamic and you have this very close friend. Did you ever want a sibling? Were you ever like, oh, I wish I had a sister, or I wish I had a brother?
I feel like maybe when I was super young, but I also was very conscious. I don't know how you're going to react if I had a sibling or not. I don't want to share my parents.
Yeah.
I may want a sibling sometimes, but also I love that it's just me. I mean, I could, I could see that.
It was nice. It was nice. I had all the attention. I mean, I don't know. I just enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. Because I've seen your dynamic with your mom, and also I have in the past seen how your dynamic was with your dad, and it was so close, and you were like the apple of their eyes. You were their pride and joy. You were their little princess. You were the focal point for both of them. And you were very much like my parents, my best friends. I love them. And I think maybe not having siblings is why your best friends are your sisters.
And that's very interesting because I was I'm very close with my mom now. My dad unfortunately passed away, and that was huge on me because the three of us were super close. We go on vacations. We do everything. And I truly enjoyed it. So the three of us will have a great time together. And that sort of expanded because then as you may know, as I just told you, friends were also important. So in family gatherings, we would have my mom's friends, my dad's friends, my friends. So everyone together. And that was super fun.
Yeah. I've been to get-togethers at the Rojas household. Your last name has changed because you're married, but original last name Rojas. And I've been to gatherings Claudia was literally the type of person, she was living abroad and she would text you oh, I'm going to be in Lima. We're going to have a get together at my house this date. Come. And I would show up, and it's me, and it's also friends that we know from college, but it's also her aunts, it's her uncles, it's her friends from high school, cousins, grandparents.
Everybody's coming. Everybody's coming.
Everyone's there.
So you're mentioning your parents a lot. You're obviously super close to them. This might be going into the second season or your second journey, where you really get this passion, you discover this passion to help others and to really, just work for a mission. Do you get that also from your parents? Because they were very mission driven, right? They are still, your mom's still very mission driven.
They both are. They both have very different profiles, I think, on how they address that. So I think I got the best from both worlds. My dad would be the most good-hearted person that you've ever meet. He was always willing to help everyone. They're both doctors. My mom's side, she'll always be the friendly one. She will have friends from everywhere. She'll know everyone. What do you need? Oh, I'll make it happen. She'll know everyone who to contact. And so
I've witnessed that. What do you need? Where are you? I'll call. I know someone there. Where is it? What city? What place? Wait, where are you at? I know someone that can help you. Let me call them. Let me see. Yeah, that's your mom.
That's so nice.
It's so nice. So I feel like I always admired them both from how they directed those sort of spheres in life, because I always felt, and maybe it's because it was so natural for me ever since growing up, that was the way to go. At first I didn't know how to orient that, because of course I was studying law, but I don't know exactly what I wanted to do, like where I want to position myself. Do I want to go to a law firm? I want to go work for a company.
Medicine was something you never considered?
Medicine was something that I and Valerie, one of my best friend since we met from 2 years old, they both her parents and my parents sort of groomed us in a way that you both have to be doctors. And she ended up being a doctor. She's a very successful doctor and she's great. I abandoned the journey to go to law school.
Like, not for me, mom and dad. Sorry. I'm going to have to.
She was the daughter that they never had to study law. The study medicine. So.
Okay.
I was okay with that.
Yeah. So you go to law school. That's where we meet, at the University of Lima.
Exactly.
Studying law. And then, you graduate, and you mentioned that shortly after that, you end up moving to DC. But as I remember, that wasn't your original plan. You kind of end up in DC. So tell us that story.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's an interesting story as well. So I was supposed to go to Australia to study my master's in security. So that was the original plan. So, I mean, because of life, I ended up being in DC for 3 months. And this becomes a part of a previous journey. I was working with the public sector in Peru. And as part of that,
you were doing like national defense, right?
Exactly.
That's what it was.
So
yeah.
As part of that, I came to a conference in DC, but I ended up meeting someone that also was working in the same field as I was at that point. Mm-hmm. And we connected and we exchanged numbers. And then she's amazing. She ended up offering a short position. And it was a great position. So it was a unique opportunity for me. I took it and it was, okay, it's only for 3 months. This is great. I'm going to Australia after that. So it was perfect. So I came to DC for that. And honestly, what started as a 3-month contract ended up being here for 10 years at this point. So it was sort of that. I saw it at first as a temporary thing, but then life happened and there was no way I was going to live this amazing city. I feel like DC is very unique because there's so many international people. You get to meet different aspects of the world through their eyes. So I love that. Love that.
That's funny that you mentioned this wanting like, oh, I was going to leave. Like it was like, because when I met you 8 years ago, probably, I remember you saying, I actually think I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to Boston. Like, I don't think DC's for me anymore. Like I need to change for a bit. And then you met your husband.
I know.
Yeah.
Then
I remember Boston because
I think like the following week you met your husband. We're like,
well, that's not happening now. But yeah, because you were doing a master's.
I was doing my master's, yeah.
Yeah, but you were doing it like, I remember like long distance and you're like, you traveled to take the exams in person, but and you're like, I'm going to Boston. I think I might just like move there.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. That
didn't happen. Here you are, DC strong.
I know, DC strong. So that was a twist in the story. That was a plot twist. I just remember, yes, of course. So I was doing my master's at that point. And I found this amazing program that would allow me to travel. I was doing a lot of traveling prior meeting my husband. And I wanted to do my master's, but at the same time, I couldn't stay in DC for exams, for classes or anything. So I needed something flexible. So I found this program at Harvard that will allow me, if I was in Boston, I would just attend in person. But if not, there's a possibility for me to connect online. So that was great. I would just have to go there for the exam. So it was very flexible. It worked for me. But at the end of the year, I decided I'm going to move to Boston. I'm just going to be extremely present for the last couple of courses. And then I'm just going to graduate. And that's when I met you, Lou, here in DC. And shortly after I met my husband, and then the pandemic came and I never moved to Boston. I became more ingrained in DC.
They're like, well, I think the universe is telling me to just stay put.
Exactly.
I remember you moved, but you moved in with Steven. That's what happened. That's what you moved.
Yeah. You moved.
You didn't move cities. You moved
apartment.
to another house. That's right.
Let's talk about Steven a little bit. Let's talk about your husband.
I love that.
Because, he is from the U.S., born and raised.
Born and raised.
Did you picture yourself like, oh, I'm totally going to marry an American? Was there a nationality? Was there what were you thinking about that?
So I don't think I've ever had like a type, but I knew I wanted a family. I knew, I don't know, you sort of know. So when I met Steve, it was something like, I feel like I met him different lifetimes, to say the least. And that was nice. It felt like home. It felt like, you know what? Like, and I think I had that realization probably, I don't know, second or third date. And it just, everything went upward from there because I felt like he felt the same way. So we were always in tune. Always in tune.
That's like nice. A true connection.
True connection. true connection, and it was very genuine from the start. And I think that made it very easy for us to be a great team.
It's so crazy, right? Because it's like when you date and like you're thinking about like the characteristics that you would want your husband to have, whatever those are super important for sure. But then it's like how you parent if you decide to have kids. That is equally or more important. Like if it's someone that you can parent with, that you are aligned with how you want to raise children. I mean, it's like you can't, like hindsight is 2020. Like you can't really know what.
So what I'm hearing
for.
is when I date, I need to ask you to lend me one of your kids for a weekend and just have the guy spend the weekend. I'm like, okay, we're in charge of this kid for 2 days. Let me see what you got.
Let's keep him alive. Let's keep him alive.
No. Wasn't that like Home Economics, which you would see like within an egg?
No, but they did it with like an
TV
egg.
shows. Yeah. That's so funny. No, I mean, I think hopefully the characteristics that you're looking for align. God knows, but it is so important. It is such a big part of your life, actually. It just becomes like a good chunk of years that are, taken with that. So better be good.
Yeah. And you know what? I have a question that's related to that because I remember the first time I met Steven, you guys had already been together for a while. And it's when you guys went to Peru to stay for a few months. And I was this was already post-pandemic. The scariest part of the pandemic was over. And you guys both went to Peru. You stayed a few months and you guys came by my apartment to visit one day and we had a few drinks. And I remember since you had already been in Peru for a while, what I was so taken by, not only did I love Steven right away and he was just so nice, but what I was really taken by when I met him was the fact that just after like a month or so in Peru, he got it. He was down with the culture. He understood. He's like, oh, no, the other day I went to this. And he was like, Luciana, he was going to like public institutions, publicly run Peruvian institutions and getting shit done. He's like, oh yeah, I needed to get this. I needed to do this tramite. I needed to do that. So I did this and I was helping Claudia's mom out with that. And she gave me a tip to talk to this person. So I went and did it. And I was like, he's doing all this in Spanish? Like, how is he? What? What is, okay. He got it. He like took to Peru like a fish to water with no problems. And I'm going to be honest. I have several friends that have married foreigners. And when they've gone back to Peru, more than one spouse, I've seen the reaction of them being like, oh yeah, Peru's so pretty. It's so nice. The food is great. We could never live here. I've seen that reaction from foreign spouses. And I completely understand. I'm like, yes, this is so foreign to you. I get it. It's not your vibe. Right. Got it. You don't speak Spanish.
It can be chaotic. And not knowing the language, I feel it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it'll be very challenging because not a lot of people will be able to speak to you in English.
Yeah, it can just feel really foreign. And I just remember Steven, how he had like taken it on and and he loved it. He was like, oh yeah. And I got explained, this was explained to me and that. And he was like so excited by it. I'm like, this is a good egg.
He's a very smart man. I mean, he gets it in a heartbeat. No, like, yeah, I don't know. But now you're talking about cultural things. I mean, it has been an adjustment. I don't know how it has been with you, Lou, if it was smooth or not. For us, it was a little bit smooth, but also there's certain times that it comes up. And especially, I guess, now that you're a parent, like you're sort of, you ambition maybe you're being a parent in Peru because that's the role that you've been ingrained in. So now contrasting it with how is raising kids in the US, for me, it's pretty different. And sometimes
very, very different.
And sometimes I balance that also in my head. It's like, it's okay that it's different. Yeah, it's just how it is. And I think he will feel the same if we were raising kids in Peru, for example.
For sure. I mean, when I see something very different that I find like, wow, it can be done this way. And I love that. Like, I love that I discover something different that is way better than what I knew. But then I'm like, okay, there's two things that both seem cool, but I know this one, the other one's too foreign for me. I'm going to stick with my own. sorry, like this is what I know, and I cannot bring myself to do it this other way. I had to be very intentional about what is important for me about Peru to keep. Did you do that? Did you have a moment where you like, these are the things that are like, I'm definitely passing down, or these are the things that I'm definitely replicating from Peruvian culture?
When did that moment hit you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, because of this balance, you're holding into your essence of being Peruvian, of having, I mean, I've been born and raised there, and that will always stay with me. So there's some unspoken rules that I'm very familiar with. Even to this point, I've been 10 years in this country, but I feel that there are certain things that I definitely feel that are important. For example, being close to family, having a good relationship with your friends, having that mini community with you, for you. So important. Building that is some part of conscious decisions.
Yes.
You can't take it for granted. You have to be very intentional, just like you said, Lou, because if you're not intentional, I feel like there's so many things in life that just draw your attention. And at the end of the day, those things matter, and those things are very important. And you want also to set a good example for your kids and your family to make those things a priority as well.
Could you give me an example of a cultural difference that came up between you and your husband that you had to then like solve, figure out, explain, decide on?
If I think of any cultural difference, I think it will be reversed, that I've been sort of amazed. It will be mainly how functional men can be here, rather in Peru.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a great surprise.
It's a very nice surprise. I mean,
they know how to do everything, you know?
I kind of love this conversation a little bit because obviously this is an ongoing conversation about like gender roles that has been changing a lot, right? But with a lot of my Latina friends, there is this, and I think it's changing a little bit in our countries too.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
It feels here like there is a true partnership in I'm not going to generalize all across the United States, but like at least, I don't know, with the partners that we have here in DC, that there is a lot, like parents, like fathers are very involved and have a lot to do, like very hands-on with like all of the things with childcare, right?
Everything.
In Peru, when I speak with a lot of my girlfriends, I mean, they're great dads. I have a lot of friends that have like they're great male dads, but just the expectation from men, and also that you have a lot of more help in Peru, is just, it's not to be as involved or big decision makers or in the child's life, right?
Or doing something like super simple as washing dishes or cook or doing laundry.
Yeah. In Peru, that's still very female
oriented.
Or
female, and even if you have help at home in Peru, which is very common, like the wife has to manage
the help
and ask the help, like, oh, can you please do this, or can you do that, or like she's like managing their tasks and the workload and the mental load. Ultimately,
yeah, that's true. A lot of my guy friends that I speak with, I was so shocked because I'm not married, so I'm not aware of this whole, like, I'm aware of it because I read articles from the New York Times about like, oh, gender roles in marriage and the workload and the mental load and blah, blah, blah. But I don't experience it. So I was properly shocked when I was talking with like a group of guy friends. This was like, I think 2 years ago, maybe. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what bill I had forgotten to pay. And I'm like, let me check my app real quick. I don't remember if I paid it or not. And so I just opened my bank app and I checked really quick if I had paid all of my outstanding bills. And I was like, oh, see, I missed one. I knew I had missed one and I paid it really quick. And he's like, oh my gosh, how do you remember to do that? And I'm like, how do you? And he's like, oh no, my wife does all that. And I was like, really? Your wife does all that? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, but what if your wife is like sick, or like if she's out, or what if she's traveling? Like, do you not, like, I know maybe you've decided that she's in charge and she does it every month and that's fine. But like, if she weren't around, could you take over? And he was like, oh no, I have no idea. And I was like,
he's like, I have no idea what we're paying.
I was like, okay. And he was astonished at how I had remembered to pay a bill. And I was like, you're a 38-year-old man. Okay.
No.
All right.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yeah. I actually was speaking with a friend the other day who's also married to an American here. And she said, like, my marriage here is just a lot strong. She was previously married to someone in her country back home. And this is her second husband here in the US. They have kids together. She didn't have kids with the first husband, but she's like, my relationship in here, my marriage here is so strong because we are truly raising our kids together. We divide and conquer. We both share the workload. This is a bond that I've never experienced in my life. And it's so deep because we look at each other. We understand what the other, what it's like to do the other task. Like, yeah, like I can look at my husband and like after he's been with the kids for a couple hours and just by looking at him, I know what type of moment or time he had.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and like he comes in and he knows exactly what he's walking into because I come home a little earlier than he does from work. So when he comes in, he knows exactly what he's walking into and what to do. And it's just like, you both know you are both in it together. And that is a lovely thing that we have. I mean, I know we can't generalize because that's not all of the US, but it is a big difference for the positive, right? Versus our country.
For the positive and also the fact that they can actually do everything just like you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel very blessed with Steve because and I travel a lot now for work. I don't think that would be possible if I didn't have the partner that I have.
Sure.
And he's very understanding. He knows this is important for the family, important for me, for my career. So you really need that bond and also the fact that he can do everything. But that sort of bond, that sort of connection, knowing and anticipating also the needs makes your workload, even though it's big, it's not, I mean, it's always going to be heavy, but it's less heavy if you actually balance it in a way that it feels balanced.
Yeah. So how was it with you and Steven in terms of like meeting the families and incorporating? Because like I said, at one point, you and Steven were in Peru for a few months with your mom, right?
So in our families together, like they loved it. And specifically when we got married, when we did the religious wedding in Lima, everyone came from the States, family, friends. So it was a big party. His family, they're very open. They love Peru. We get along super well. I love them. They love me. So they live 5 minutes away from us. So it's great. We love that. And Steven and my mom, well, when we were spending a long time in Peru, my house sort of is divided. So we have the big house and then we have like a guest house that has everything. So we will stay there and then we stay there with Lucas. So we also have like our private space. So we were not in each other's faces all the time. But it was great. I mean, Steven, I feel like he died in minute one and he knew what he was getting into and he loved it. And we've grown together so much, not only since we were dating, but now that we're parents and everything in between, the ups and downs, and it just makes us stronger. And I feel like sometimes like cultural differences, might be something that it just blends in. And it's sort of like one culture that has all these elements for the kids, for the family.
What do you mean? What do you mean? How do you do that? How do you blend it all?
And also religion. So I'm a Catholic. I go to church every Sunday. I am a very like strong believer of God, and Steven is Christian. He's not necessarily Catholic, but we include, certain aspects of religion in the family. So, for example, we say blessings when we do dinner and everyone does a blessing. Even Lucas, even Max, he's 18 months and he still does the phrase, amen. That's his, su aporte.
His contribution.
His contribution, exactly. So it's nice to see that element as well. Also the Spanish, for example, the Spanish element is something that he knows is very important for me. So So we try to include the Spanish as much as possible. Even when I'm not around and he's reading books, he's sometimes reading in Spanish. Sometimes Lucas asks for a Spanish book, or Max is reading a Spanish book. He reads it with Max. And then, of course, the Peruvian element of it. He's very proud, and he creates all these atmospheres that makes that very easy. Fortunate for everyone, because he's very open to the idea of creating this heritage, this idea, this identity that creates not only the American side, but also the Latino, the Peruvian part. That is very important for everyone. It is very important for me as well to have that carry on into my kids' life and what they do, whenever they grow up. So yeah.
That's really nice.
That's
really
awesome.
nice.
Yeah.
What about, as you guys continue on in your journey, you have 2 kids now, and looking into the future, I was wondering this, like, you're so close with family. Family is clearly very important to both of you guys. You live so close to Steven's family. Your mom, has been living close to you at times. You've been with her in Peru sometimes. And I know you told me that, I think she might be moving away. And I'm wondering how you're thinking about balancing that, about balancing Peru being a thing that's far from you, but also in your heart, and maybe that you want to keep in your children's life somehow. And also your mom being that same way, this person that you love so much and you want to have her be a part of your life, your children's life, but she might also be away.
Where is she? Does she know?
So right now she's in the middle of the process of residency. So for now she's with us, but she might be planning to move abroad or maybe go back to Peru. She's still deciding where she wants to land for the next couple of years. She has a lot of flexibility of doing that. So that's great.
Doctors can always move wherever they want. God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pro tip. If you want to explore the world and live in different countries, just study medicine. It's the same everywhere.
It's a skill that's needed everywhere. So, and
it's the same. The rules are the same. The body is the same.
I know. I'm telling her, like, it would be great Spain, for example. We're also Spanish citizens. So
you're like, pick a nice vacation home for me.
Yeah, right? Somewhere I want to visit, Yeah.
No, but I feel like also family and friendships at this point are across countries and cities. So that's very natural for me, for us. And I was also referring to these micro moments. And I don't know if this happens to you. And I feel like that especially happens to me when I meet someone after a long time. It feels like it was yesterday that we saw each other and we catch up, and that moment feels so special. Yes. And those micro moments, as life goes on and life becomes busier and busier, those are more scarce, but those are more cherished. So I feel like even though she might be somewhere else, or maybe my friends keep moving around from different cities and here and there countries, evolving in life, I feel that connection will never go away. And that's something that we still need to maintain through years. And this is why I feel like when you grow up, you start to know who are your people and who are your family and community and who you really want to spend time with. Even if you're far away, you have so many things, like you text, you have phone calls. And that's all you need sometimes. It's like, hey, 5 minutes. What's up? Are you okay? Hey, this happened to me. I just got promoted. In those micro moments are very special, especially since people are moving abroad and moving cities and there's so much flexibility. So I feel like that applies to everyone. Everyone that is special for you might be far away, and you just have to make it work somehow. We're so more connected than in any other time. So
we are lucky in that sense, for sure.
So we are going to move on to our last few questions. First of all, what are your main cultural identities? This can be any identity you wish. Do you feel Catholic? Do you feel Peruvian? Do you feel Latin? Do you feel, I don't know, Latina? I don't know.
That's a great question. I feel like I'm a merge of different identities. I feel like I started very hard Peruvian, like to the core, and I feel like that will never go away. But I definitely feel that sort of truly expanded when I became knowing more about our region and fell in love with all these amazing countries, and the amazing people out there. So I feel very Peruvian, but very Latina also. And I feel like it's a very hard identity because, you feel more connection and so many similarities with people around the continent, and truly knowing the countries, how the dynamics work, meeting them, having friends from there, knowing their stories, what they've been through, what they cherish, what that's important for them, sort of makes you feel part of that as well. And for example, living in DC, you get to share and you get to meet so many people, and you become sort of very close to them. And at the end of the day, you become a merge. Even your accent sort of changes. It just becomes more blend.
You pick up some fun words that they use. It's like, oh, they use this. I use that.
I remember when Luciana was living in New York, I don't know how many years in, but I came to visit her one year, and I remember telling, like, you were working at a company that had a lot of Latin American people.
No, and I, from my NYU program, I had a lot of Latina friends, and I had a lot of Colombian friends, and I borrowed some words.
And I remember commenting like, what's up with your accent? You're not speaking, not her Spanish accent, her American accent. Had picked up some inflections from the other Latinas. I'm like, what are you doing? Who are you talking? What is this?
Like, this is a season of, I
didn't recognize her.
And we would all borrow some words. Like, some were like, oh, you say chévere. I'm going to say chévere. And I'm like,
have at it.
Go
That's my gift.
Borrowed. Use it. This is my gift to you.
Yeah.
So I feel those two very strongly. I also feel that, like a working mom for me is very important. Being someone that follows her passion and being able to do this while navigating motherhood and being a spouse now and creating this amazing family and team. That's sort of a balance that is needed, but needs to be intentional, as we were saying. It has to be very directed, and it has to be shared. And
I feel like it's worth mentioning that being a working mom for you includes traveling all over Latin America.
Exactly.
That's in the mix for you. And I have to add that it's something that, though you struggle with it, you love it, because you could have given it up. Like, you could have,
Right. Like, you could have a role that requires no travel. A 9-to-5 in DC.
Yeah, but Claudia doesn't just want travel. If a job offers her to, like, I'm going to send you to Europe every year, she's going to be like, no, what about my Latinos? Like, that's where I want to go. I want to see my countries. I have to visit my little countries.
That's what happened, Claudia. Remember about the meeting that I had?
Yes.
It's only with the US and maybe one other country. And like, okay.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, I don't think I'm interested in this job. And I was like, why? Why aren't you interested? And she's like,
send me to Latin America.
They won't send me to Guatemala anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, all right then. Apparently that's a deal breaker. All right. Okay.
But yes, I'm more interested in doing, as much impact as I can, honestly. And I feel that's part of my identity. It's part of who I feel. I thrive. I thrive, and I love doing what I do. And I probably don't see myself doing anything less, you know? If I have the tools, and I have the knowledge, and I have the abilities to expand the work and keep working with the stakeholders that I work with, I feel like I need to do that. Of course, balancing it with family is always an art that you have to do, because you have your priorities, and you have your kids and your husband.
It is not easy. It is not easy.
But you know what? I think you won the lotto in the timing, because when you went into your marriage, you were like, listen, bro, this is the package. I'm traveling all over. You were dating me. You saw how much I travel. This is what it is. This is what it is.
And also, I think that you are very passionate about what you're doing. Not that, like, it makes it easier to manage the logistics, but I guess, like, you know what you're willing to do for it, right? Like, you know. And as we said, being comfortable with like just knowing that some balls are going to drop.
Exactly. And sometimes you, of course, you have to focus on, for example, I don't know, if we need our kids to do something specifically, well, they're all hands on that specific task. If by any chance Stephen needs something, well, all hands on that and so on, because of course there are priorities. And I feel like, for example, being a mom or those kind of things take precedence within the chain of things. And that's because it's because of balance. It's just a balance and an art. Yeah. And sometimes you have to focus on one arena more than others. You can't have it all. That's a big lie that we've heard so many times. And there are trade-offs and it's okay. Yeah. It's fine.
You can have a little bit of everything in different moments, but not all at once.
No, never all at once.
Okay, our last segment, I don't know if Claudia prepped you for this, but we have a segment called Speak My Language, where we ask you to share something in your native language that either doesn't have a translation in English, or you just don't prefer how it sounds in Spanish, or you just like just a word or phrase, something that is special for you that you'd like to share with us today.
Did I prep you for this?
You did not. But
I didn't remember. When you said, I was like, I don't know prep you for this. I was like, did I?
To the pod, so she knows it's coming.
Of course. I mean, I feel like there's some words that don't have translation. One of my favorite words ever is apapacho.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Yes.
It's like apapacha.
This is a repeat.
Really?
There was a Colombian friend, Nelly.
My friend Nelly, her word was apapacho. So this is the first time that this has happened.
First repeat word, yes, apapacho.
I absolutely love apapacho. And it's like, I don't know any translation in English that can recreate any resemble.
Okay. Can you give us a second since we've had it? I get it. It's your love. But
I love that Luciana is like, you know what? That doesn't count now. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Repeat.
Can't do a repeat.
You have to listen to the entire episode, every single episode of the podcast.
You started by saying there are so many.
But now I get. Now that you put me on the spot, now I don't have any other to give you.
Okay, and how would you describe apapachos? Because, Nelly gave us hers, but I want to give you the opportunity.
I don't know. I feel like you hug with the soul. And it's more, and it goes beyond the physical apapacho. Apapacho for me is like, I don't know, you feel very excited for something and you text someone. And that for me is that connection is so valuable that or when you're feeling sad or we just want to share something with a friend and that friend comes back to you and it's like, oh my God, I totally get, or you just want to like decompress. That specific moment for me is a apapacho. It's like, I'm not there physically with you, but I get you. I'm on the other side of the world. I'm here for you. We're together.
Yeah. Apapachos. Yeah. What emoji do you use when you send apapachos?
I use so many, but I mean,
well, first of all, are you even a Latina if you just use one emoji?
Exactly.
Let's be real.
I am not
1,000 emojis.
I am not a 1,000 emoji person. I like this girl. The one that's like this. To me, that's an apapacho to me.
Oh, also the cartwheel. The cartwheel is excitement. Like it's like very like lots of excitement,
The cartwheel for me, it reads like
and the
do you need Adderall? Do we need to control this? Do we need medication?
Come over, yay! And it's like the cartwheel. I love the cartwheel. And then the party, the little party.
The exploding little thing. That one's great. Yeah. That one's like everyone. That's standard. That's classic. That's classic.
Let's do it. Boom.
Yeah.
Claudia, thank you so much for coming on. We really
this
was so
guys.
Fun. This was so fun.
Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for spending your late evening, post kids are asleep. With us.
No, absolutely.
So, how did this conversation land for you?
Okay, I loved this conversation. Obviously, because Claudia is my friend.
So nice.
Always nice to talk to her. But something that struck me was when she mentioned how her love for Latin America, was something that like grew.
Yeah.
Which I related to. I don't work traveling all over Latin America, helping people out. Like that's not my job.
Yeah.
But I still connected to what she said because I do feel that something happens when you move abroad, which is when you're living in Peru. When I was living there, I was like, oh, I love Peru. I feel so Peruvian. I feel so connected to the people here. And yes, I'm Latin American, but because you're in your specific country, you're almost identified in comparison or even sometimes opposition to the other countries in the region constantly. You're constantly compared. You're like, oh, our economy is very similar to Colombia.
It's a bit of a competitive vibe.
Yeah, Brazil's economy is much bigger. Chile is much more advanced in these aspects. And there's like things are going poorly in Argentina.
Some rivalry with sports. Yeah.
And so you're always in like comparison with them, even though you do feel Latina.
Very similar. Yeah.
But something happens when you move abroad. Like when you come to the United States, all of a sudden, yes, you still feel super Peruvian, but you feel more Latina and you feel more identified with all of them to countries that you were just a little while ago comparing to Peru. Like, oh, Colombia, how different we are, and Ecuador, how different we are. And all of a sudden you're here and you meet someone from Colombia or Ecuador and you're like, oh my God, my sister, my brother.
Right. We're the
same.
I think it's because you are looking for people that are similar to you. You're like, reaching for someone who's like, looks like you, speaks like you, something familiar, right?
Yeah.
And also you don't have to compete. You're like, oh, this is actually, just like nice to feel.
We're in the same pot here. We're not in different pots anymore.
Yeah. And you're not, I do think there is this competitive nature in sports and what you were saying, economy and just like, and then that changes very quickly when you're not, when you're here. And I think that definitely became the case for me too when I went to grad school, and I immediately bonded with a group of girls from different countries in Latin America. It's just, that was we are the same, we're like, oh, we are very similar. And it's very nice. I obviously really related to a lot of Claudia's working mom balance, work-life balance with making all the things work and keeping the balls from dropping, even though they drop. Part of the conversation, I really loved how light she felt and just, I felt very related to that because motherhood is tough, and working and raising kids, small children, is tough. But even though it's tough, like you can enjoy it and you can be very happy amongst chaos, amongst what's something that looks very chaotic to other people. You can feel very happy. And she seemed very light and happy. And I really love seeing her in this moment in her life. And I feel very fortunate to be in a similar situation. I think that there are rough days. There are moments when it's like, oh my God, and 5 to 7 p.m. every day is the melting emoji. But I wouldn't have it any other way. And I am so happy. And I think that she brought up this really good point that I hadn't really thought about in a deep way, about just how, this parenting styles and parenting. We talked about it a little bit, how when our family, Claudia, mom, dad, my sisters, you and me, lived in the US, we were very much a unit. And it was just the 6 of us. And that's what it feels like for me and my family in Peru. Not that those units don't exist, but there are more cooks in the kitchen. Literally, there are way more people in the home helping you,
whether it's hired help or aunts and uncles or whatever it is,
aunts and uncles or family. And I don't think that both people traditionally in Peru husband and wife have shared equals household responsibilities. And here, even though there are still differences, the men are much more involved in my experience. And that is really it's been a really nice thing to have. And
yeah. I think that still for sure exists. And I'm always fascinated by this because to me, this is just there's such a logical look at me speaking about solutions and I'm not even in a relationship, but But when I look at it from afar, to me, it just reminds me, it feels like there's a very clear solve in corporate culture where it's like, whenever you're on a team with someone, like one of the number one rules is like, everyone should have visibility over the scope of everyone else's work because we all need to know, like when a teammate isn't here, when they go on vacation or wherever, we have to know who and how is covering what functions because we have to know them and we have to be, and visibility is such a key thing. And like knowing everyone, all the tasks that a project is going to involve, and then you lay them all out and then you put them in buckets and then you distribute the buckets and the tasks. And then we are all still aware of what everyone's bucket and load is. And I'm like, the corporate world has figured this shit out, man. And who are in the corporate world if not men? So I think men know this. And they know that this is a thing. And so I think it can be addressed, but there are so many just like cultural implications because we don't look at our relationships as like a corporation or like a job or like, so I don't think we bring that way of thinking into our relationships. And
I also think like culturally, like, okay, here things are changing. Even here in the US, things are changing. I'm sure the way my husband and I are living was not the same that, a married couple 20 years ago was living or sharing responsibilities. And a lot of the work and mental load is still on a lot of mothers and wives even in this country. But in Peru, even more traditional, even more so. And I think that it is also the fact what Claudia said about, not only knowing what the other person is doing, but the other person can also do it and has done it multiple times and knows exactly what that task requires. Yeah. Right? It's like, this is, if I'm actually going to do this, this is the full task. I know how to do it through and through. And yeah.
And we've all been on like really great teams where like all of a sudden this new thing comes in and someone else is like, oh my gosh, Claudia, I think that's going to affect you because you have to do this. And I think this is going to, and you're like, oh my God, thank you so much for that heads up. I hadn't thought of it. That's amazing. And to have that type of teammate is like so amazing. So I couldn't imagine whenever I hear about like husbands and wives and like the unequal sharing, I'm like, that would be the shittiest job, man. That would be like being on a team with someone who not only has no visibility over what I'm doing, but isn't even like, I would be questioning, does this person even care that I'm here? Like, what's going to happen when I go on vacation? Is everything just going to fall apart because this person doesn't even know or think like, do I have to make like what is happening?
I just finished watching All Her Fault, actually. These are the topics, actually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But, oh my gosh, so fun to chat with Claudia. I loved, just seeing her in such a good space. And yeah, it was so good to catch up.
Yeah. You know what? I agree. She's always been like a person that, just carries any kind of concerns or worries or problems just very lightly. Mm-hmm. She's always had that personality. She's always been very bubbly and very light. But I think with age, she's kept that, but she's gained a calmness that she didn't necessarily have. In her 20s, she was very bubbly and she was very light and she kept things light. But there was always like a rustling. There was like an energy. There was like a like I don't know where to stand still. Yeah. And now I feel like she's bubbly, she's light, but she's calm.
Right.
And I just feel like these are all good signs. Like, who doesn't want these things in their life? Who doesn't want calm?
That wraps it up for today. Support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Ciao, ciao.
Hasta la vista, babies. At Where We Land, we know that some immigrant experiences are harder than others, especially for those at the margins of our current legal system. So if you would like to help, we encourage you to support organizations that provide services for immigrants and champion their rights. You can find a list of organizations in the show notes.